Winner, winner, chicken dinner. The Suns actually win a game tonight, and it's 117 to 112. The Suns beat the Brooklyn Nets. Tonight, we have a guest, Jake, Fallen Founder. How are you doing?
Ooh, baby. It feels good to get in the win column again. I will say that much. Kyrie Irving tried his best, though, didn't he?
Yeah, that was scary. And like we were talking before the pod, I said if he wasn't tired, I feel like we would have probably lost that game. But they were trying to give him the ball towards the end of the game, and he's like, "No, I can't do it," because I think he scored 16 points in the fourth quarter. I didn't even look that up.
Yeah. If that's not proof positive that the earth is not flat, I mean, he clearly got tired as he continued to run around the valley, and he just got gassed at the end of it. Because if it was flat, there would be not nearly as much resistance there.
Well, you're actually looking at a flat earther. I'm just joking. Absolutely not. But yeah, I mean, dude, exciting night. I thought this was going to be a blowout. All of a sudden, it was a close game, but thank God they got a win because the Suns absolutely needed something. We had Cameron Johnson come back. There's a lot to talk about on this podcast. First, though, I don't drink really anymore. So what do you have to drink? Do you have anything to pop open for us?
Well, as I mentioned to you, not all bets paid off tonight. So we're gonna start one, and we might finish the second one. I might pick it up for you.
All right. Well, thank you. You got a couple blue moons there, huh?
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, chug that, Jamsters. Let's get this started. $117 to $112. The Suns do pull away the victory. Close game in the end. Usually right here in the pod, John will ask me a question. We'll get the pod started off with that. But, I mean, we've been missing a guy. He's finally back. So let me actually I got to find his drop because it's been a while since we actually had him on the podcast, and he came back tonight. So, of course, I can't find it.
Lights, Cameron, action.
Yeah, Cameron Johnson is back. And he looked, I would say he looked pretty good. I would say that he looked, limited on minutes. But what do you think? I feel like he just looked like the same old Cam out there. A little bit more exhausted, of course, but he held it together pretty well.
I honestly had no idea he was injured based on how he came out and was just like, oh, I'm just going to hit a three. I'm going to drive to the basket, take the foul, free throws, hit another three. What's up? I'm Cam Johnson. I should be starting over Jay Crowder any day of the week.
Yeah, no, now that conversation, I feel like the media, even this podcast, every Suns podcast has been talking about Jay Crowder. We never know what's going to happen with him with the trade or really even what happened. So it's kind of nice to have Cameron Johnson come back and just kind of show like, hey, I'm still here. And I know coming back to this game, I did put out there on a tweet like, hey, help is on its way. But then some people are like, yeah, we still need Booker. We still need this. But I'm like, he can knock down some shots. Tonight he was, what was his final stat? So he was 4 for 10. He did start off hot. He got 10 points in the first quarter, and you're just like, dude, that house or that arena was going crazy. The energy was different. I feel like with him coming back, it's kind of just like the first piece, right? I feel like there's going to be, of course, you're going to have the Chris Paul coming back. You're going to have Devin Booker coming back eventually in a couple of weeks. So this kind of just starts that. I feel like it's good to have him come back first and just help this team. And I feel like a lot of guys could actually play their position because he's back. And I know he didn't start, but I feel like these guys had more energy with him coming in and coming off the bench.
I mean, yeah, 21 minutes played. He still got 19 points in, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. I mean, he usually gets closer to 30 minutes. So, I mean, extrapolate that a little bit more. I mean, you're looking at in the 20s and close to 10 rebounds and 3-4 assists. I mean, if we had that Cam Johnson, we would take him and we would go deep in the playoffs very easily. The Australian boys were actually messaging me during the game, and they were talking about, the old campaign is unlocked by Dario Saric, and now we found out that Cam Johnson unlocks Saban Lee and unlocks DeAndre Ayton. But what was clear is that Cam Johnson unlocks this Suns team because I think that, Damian Lee can hit threes, Bridges and some of these guys can hit threes, but Cam takes it with a confidence that, I mean, not quite Kyrie Irving-esque, right? But I mean, like, he shoots it, and Suns fans, we think it's going down. Now, he was 2 of 6, but they look good almost every time he's taking it. It's not like oh, shoot, it's the end of the shot clock, just got to chuck it up. It looks good, and the defense has to react, and that's why you see Deandre Ayton was playing big tonight, even though kind of towards the end, I think Claxton finally figured out how to block some shots. So.
Yeah, I feel like more of this pod's going to be about Deandre Ayton because a great game. I'm not going to say it's going to take up half the pod, but I feel like anytime we talk about Deandre or DA, why did I call him Deandre? I never call him that. When we talk about DA, it takes up 30 minutes. And I feel like he's been getting a lot of attention. He's been getting a lot of talk. Kevin O'Connor's been talking about him over at the Ringer, said he's sick of him. He says the Suns need to trade him. Our podcast, we're sick of him. You hear a lot of fans that are just kind of sick of him. I talked to my friends, 3-way calls all night, 2 hours, just like, what are we going to do with this guy? We're kind of sick of him. He got to the point where it's almost like we kind of want him off the team, but then also you hear from like Bill Simmons or anybody talking about Deandre, that he is just someone that might not even be tradable. Like, we don't even know if he has any kind of like a value at all, but let me just play his drop and we'll talk about him.
Watch.
Yeah, so tonight, I mean, amazing game by him. Looked really, really simple. I mean, his game basically, it looked like, well, Monty, the way that Monty talked about the last 2 days when they had time to practice, that they would show some different stuff, show some different things offensively. They actually have time to practice. Do you think Deandre was just a big part of that? Because it looked like in the first quarter, he was unstoppable. A lot of it was super easy, super simple, but it was just like they could find him. They found him. They found ways to get him the ball. He was finishing. He was hustling for extra, points. I think they had like the second chance points was like 22-0 going into the fourth quarter. But like Deandre helped with that, man. He was nonstop almost all night. Even towards the end, I feel like he kept it going. I mean, he kind of towards the end was a little bit, you can tell, kind of scared of the situation, but kind of stepped up. So like your thoughts on Deandre and how he's been kind of handled lately in tonight's game?
Yeah, I'm definitely a Deandre fan, a DA fan. Yeah. And first off, I do have to go back because I'm just imagining that you're on a 3-way call being like, what do you guys think? Is DA any good? I just
like
don't know about him anymore. Yeah. Girl, I tell you what. Yeah. DA just isn't worth it anymore.
Mom, it's only 10 o'clock. Can I stay up a little longer? Yeah.
Get off the teen line. No, but I mean, 24 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists tonight. And I was kind of surprised. I mean, they put Dario back on the court a little bit towards the end for free throws mostly. But Deandre, I didn't think he looked too nervous towards the end. He's definitely been struggling of late. I mean, some games he'll be just super efficient, but it doesn't, you expect him to bring in energy when it's, hey man, it's up to you and Bridges. We want to see that high motor because if not now, then when? And it was a better version of him tonight. There was a couple calls though in the first half that I thought the refs were really just trying to like upset me. I mean, I'm pretty sure DA was just trying to find post position. And I don't know if it was Joe Harris or who from the Nets was just like bear hugging him as he moved down towards the free throw line. And they're like, offensive foul on DA. And then like a play or two later, it was basket interference. And even Reggie Miller, who I can't stand when he calls the Suns game, but he's like, oh, that's not basket interference. I'm like, if Reggie's saying this, then it's not basket interference. And so DA kind of got mad after that, and he started kind of grinding even harder. I like to see that response because in the past, I feel like DA gets a bad call or two, and we see reserve DA. DA doesn't like to get in foul trouble, and he starts pulling back a little bit. So, I mean, I wish that man would practice how to drive into contact and draw a foul. But at this point, he might just be a high efficiency scorer that's a good position defender, which isn't bad into itself. It's not obviously what we all hoped for, but hey, you know what? Good game tonight and step in the right direction.
Yeah, it was. And I think a lot of the podcasts were going nuts about DA, and just even EJ was on the Ryan Russillo podcast. I don't know if you listen to that on the Ringer. Do you listen to any of the Ringer podcasts?
No, I didn't catch it.
Oh, okay. So he talked about DA, and honestly, sometimes I feel like EJ might just like cover some stuff up, just like kind of defend the Suns team. But he went after DA a little bit. He said he's like, Chris Paul and Devin Booker, they go to the next level. They want to reach the next level. Then you have a guy like Ayton that's just kind of just who he is, and he doesn't want to get there. So he does kind of say, like, these guys have been on him, of course, since day one. Booker has, but he just hasn't been the guy that wants to go to the next level, just hasn't really kind of put forth that effort. And he talked about basically like just telling Deandre, like, it's going to take a lot of work. He doesn't know how much work it's going to actually take to get to that level. Like, he doesn't know that yet. So that's what's so scary with the situation is a lot of people want him traded by the trade deadline. And it would suck because, when he's going to go somewhere, he's going to be he's going to improve. He definitely is. Maybe if it's a different situation, it'll help him out, different coaching, who knows? But there's going to be a time where he's going to be maybe an all-star. Who knows? But do you see that happening here in Phoenix? Like, I just feel like this game was great. It was awesome, but he needs to do this. He doesn't need to do the stats, just the hustle. Just make things easy on himself, just the hustle. But do you see him staying long-term in Phoenix past his trade deadline?
Oof. I do because I think there's so much that would kind of gum up the works. We've all read about it. I think, with the Sarver has to sign off on certain things, and Ayton has a veto over where he could be traded. So, I mean, with a guy that, used to think he just wanted to, swim the beaches around Bahamas, right? Swim on the beaches and just kind of relax. Would he want to go to a Toronto or, obviously, Pacers can't get him, but I would not imagine that he would have loved it in Indiana either. So, and I think right now I do still feel like we continue to see DA slightly improve over a long sample size. It's not the trajectory we had hoped, but if there is improvement, it's far. I mean, sometimes as Suns fans, it helps to have short memories, but then we have to also remind ourselves of, the Dragon Benders, the Josh Jacksons, and the people that we'd be like, hey, there's a good game. And then they'd have 20 terrible ones in a row. And I get because Ayton was so valued and we picked him number 1 overall. We were so excited. And seeing that incremental improvement, it's just, I feel like we see the potential so much. And I just wish, like, Shaq even kind of talked about it a little bit at halftime. It's just like, big man, get angry, like dominate a little bit. And you saw him a little bit. There was one play I was mentioning at the Aussies where he was actually at the top of the key and he passed it into Dario Saric in the post. And I was like, that's he's open so many times and the guys can, no, and they swing it back out. And you see him finally starting to say, no, throw it to me. Let's get this thing going. And so it's a little bit back and forth. And we've certainly seen that. I mean, I did not realize this until towards the end of the game when I was able to see all the guys with their knitted sweaters on. And I don't know who is borrowing Landry's fashion sense, but guys, come on, we can shake it up a little bit. I appreciate
They get bored.
Booker's staying in his lane. But I tell you what, my grandmothers have called and they want their sweaters back, Landry and Chris. So let's move away from that. But we are missing Landry Shamet, Okogie, Cam Payne, Chris Paul, and let's see, I said Payne, Shamet, Chris, Okogie. Was there another one in there? At least 4 guards. Oh, Booker. Yeah, duh.
The big one.
Booker.
Yeah.
We're missing 5 guards. It's amazing how some of these guys still can't throw a pass into the post, but that's really not their game. And so thank God for Saban Lee tonight. I don't know. You guys have a drop for him yet?
No. You know what? When I was watching the game, I'm like, I should make something for him, but it takes too much. We have to we have to game plan for a time we can actually go somewhere and brainstorm and get all these things together. So it takes a day or 2 to put these things together. So maybe next time he absolutely deserves it.
He needs a second 10-day contract.
Yeah. So like your thoughts of just Matt Ishbia, he was there tonight. He was checking out the game. He was in Sarver's seat. He is basically he's here and he's watching us. He's watching the players. He's evaluating what we have. What do you think is going to happen though? Like, I know we talked about Ayton, but is there anything else any other direction you see the Suns team going, or is it just going to be wait for these guys to come back? You just listed them off. Are we just going to wait for these guys to come back from injury and just make a run? Because right now, who is even that good, right? In the West and even in the East, who knows? Like, if this team can get healthy, is that what you're banking on though? Is just that? Because I kind of am now.
Well, I mean, when you're missing 5 guards, it's amazing how somebody like a Cam Johnson, who's not a guard, but just, a good perimeter shooter, how that can change the entire just feeling of those of the
Yeah.
games. I mean, the last few games, let's be honest, it's just been like, I hope we don't lose by a lot. If we win, that'd be amazing. Let's give it our all. And we have so many guys out. We're not even, of course, talking about Crowder, but does a move have to happen now? No. I mean, the deadline's now in less than 3 weeks, so I think you can wait till then. I think seeing Matt there, though, it gave me the feeling that Sarver's not going to stand in the way, because I think this is all signed on the dotted line at this point. The ink might not be dry yet, but if he for some reason vetoed a big trade, I guess in theory Matt could say, I'm not buying your team now. And I mean, who knows? But I don't think it's going to shift things. And so I think my vibe is that seeing him there, that might actually kind of give the front office a little bit more courage. Hey, we don't need to do a panic move. I saw something today about Jay Crowder for Dwayne Dedman and oh gosh, Caleb,
I saw that too.
From the Heat, and I was like, let's hold tight. There's going to be somebody desperate, and there's going to be some sellers. There's going to be some buyers. Let's open it up. We've got a couple of weeks, and we can make it till then. Chris Paul and I thought Landry was going to be playing. I had heard Okogie was supposed to be ready, and I heard Paul's practicing. So I expect that the team will only improve moving towards the deadline.
Yeah, I assume so too. And there's a few, actually this guy right here, John Nelson did bring up, did Dwayne Washington Jr. get injured? Damian Lee is not point guard. So Monty does this sometimes where like some players, they go off, they're a fan favorite, and sometimes we'll just sit them just unannounced. Just, we don't know what's going on with these guys. I feel like the way that Saban Lee, you brought him up earlier, the way he's been playing, I've kind of forgotten about Dwayne Washington, and I'll do that with this team. I'll forget about players on the team if they're playing well. Like if Saban Lee comes in and he can actually run the offense, like he did a really good job tonight, like better than decent towards the end of the game. Of course, Kyrie was kind of owning him, but Saban Lee has been a savior for the Suns in a way where he can just be simple, not outdo himself, not put himself or the team in bad positioning. Like he is exactly what the Suns need in the situation. And it's kind of funny because like the 10-day contract thing was not really a James Jones thing, but now he's in here and he fits well with that offense. Mm-hmm. I think defensively, he's getting steals. He's running the fast break. He can get into the lane. He plays bigger than his size in there. I'm not saying this guy's great. And I feel like defenses will figure him out. But do you see the Suns actually signing him longer term after this? Or do you need a few more games? Because right now, I'm kind of sold on the guy. I feel like I trust him with the ball. We're losing games with him. I still trust him. Tonight we won. I trusted him in their late situations. He missed a floater. It looked good. But, like, I trust this dude right now because we have no other option. But do you think he's getting his playing time over Dwayne Washington Jr.? Is that the reason? Like, because he's just playing so well? Because we haven't seen him. I don't think he's injured.
No, I mean, yeah, Dwayne, let's see, tonight, 6 minutes, 0 for 4. He had a turnover, 3 assists, a rebound. So yeah, I mean, not much was going on with him.
No.
This was definitely Saban Lee's best game. But I had to remind myself that he was on the team, when I saw him on the floor. And then I also had to remind myself that he's on a 10-day contract. Nobody knew who he was prior to. So like, coming into a team that had the best record in the league and then went last year and then went to the finals the year before. Yeah, your job's not to come in and try and impose your will. I don't know, some fans were talking about trying to go after like a Kemba Walker type before he went off to, I think, Italy now is what I read. But no, I think Dwayne Washington Jr., he's a shooter. He's more of a small combo guard. He's not a facilitator as much as Saban Lee is. But no, in terms of long-term, no, please don't sign Saban Lee long term. I mean, I don't think we'll need him, right? No, exactly. If you want to give a full contract to Wainwright or Washington, I would rather see that and then just move to a two-way contract for Saban. But I've been told this entire season the reason why we've got that one extra spot open is because James Jones is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, and chess is a long game, so.
It is.
James better have a freaking move ready to show all of us at this point.
Yeah, something will happen, and of course, it's going to be somebody we haven't even talked about, somebody we have no idea, or maybe nothing will happen. Who knows? Because the thing is, we're out here as fans, we're watching this team struggle. We want something to happen, but when you really sit back and look at it, I mean, 1.5 games out of the 6th spot in the West.
Yep.
That's how easy it is to get back into this thing. So I really think that, I mean, we were freaking out about Ayton. I think Ayton was the biggest thing, where we just wanted him to step up and show us what he has, little mama. Like, show me what you got. Just show me what you got out there. And if you can play like this, and I think we'll be okay. I think that I'm not saying we're a championship contenders really, but maybe we are, because I'm not really afraid of a lot of these teams out West. But who knows? Because I think the way that the Suns are playing right now, it's kind of hard to watch, except for tonight. They kind of saved it. If they were to lose tonight, it would have been a different story, but then that would have been only 2 games back in the 6th spot, which is absolutely fine. Someone in the chat did bring up earlier, the Twins played good tonight. So here is the other twin. The award. Mikal Bridges had an absolutely great night. 9 for 19, 28 points, 9 assists, 2 rebounds. He's looking really comfortable, and he's also looking like he's aged a lot. I don't know if you notice his face. This year, he looks like he's kind of been through like 2 terms as a president. He kind of just
he's smiling less, that's for sure.
He's smiling less, and I always thought it was because he's like, I thought it was Mikal just saying like, I want to be here in Phoenix, and I feel like he was kind of getting irritated. This is just how I was seeing it. He was kind of getting irritated of Ayton, the way he was playing, and he was focused on himself. I got to improve. He had a couple bad, terrible games when Booker and everyone, all the injuries started to pile up. Then he came back. He started to get back into things. He started playing a lot better, handling the ball better, selecting his shot. The percentage is up. He's getting that mid-range to go down, but he just looks very focused on the game right now. Like, I don't know if they're dancing before games anymore. I don't know if you can do that anymore because you're not winning games. But I do think that Mikal kind of was like, I'm sick of this. I want to be here in Phoenix. I want to show this team that what I'm made of. We're getting a new owner. I want to play with Booker. I think we can win a championship here. And I'm just focusing on my game. And he's helped this team to his, I think, max level at some points. Even defensively, he's made some good plays. Do you think he's kind of back? Do you think this guy is going to get any better? And has this helped with all the injuries? Has this helped his career and helped his positioning with the Suns? You know, just, is he here to stay? Is he here to help this team win a championship? I don't think he'll be traded, right? Because before it was kind of like he might be involved, but I don't think he's a tradable guy now. It switches so quickly.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
I made a comment. It's been kind of a tough stretch where some people are like, "Oh, Mikal Bridges, he's no Batman," and I made the comment, "Yeah, he's no Batman, he's no Robin, he's kind of more of a Commissioner Gordon. Like, I mean, he's involved in the universe and he's on your side. You want him on your side, and he's doing the little things in the background. You appreciate, or maybe an Alfred if you're a fan, but he's on your side and you appreciate that." Is he going to ever be able to take over a game? It's going to be rare. But hey, great stat line tonight. And, if you have a DA that's playing well, if you have, 37-year-old Chris Paul instead of 38-year-old Chris Paul, I mean, if you get Booker back, if you have this team around him, he can really shine. So we don't need him to be, the $1 million man. He can just be very good. And I know some people have talked about how he's a little bit Scottie Pippen-esque. I still like the Sean Marion comparisons. He does a little bit more, a little less rebounding, but the defense is still there. And he's got that weird hit shot in his 3-point shot as well as like Marion did.
Yeah.
But so it's weird because I feel like his contract, right? What he's getting paid and what he brings to a team is very valuable. So could I see him traded? Man, that would rip my heart out. Unless you're taking a big swing and you're bringing. Now, I mean, basically back when we were talking about like a Kevin Durant, was I more okay with the idea of bringing in Bridge or taking out Bridges? Sure. But like, yeah, if it's going to be something like, well, hey, we were able to go get, I don't know, somebody from the Hornets or something like that, then it's going to be like, what are we doing here, James Jones? So I wouldn't predict that at all. But no, I'd say he's got great value at the trade deadline. So, maybe there's somebody out there that's really nervous.
Man, I don't know. I want to see more of DeAndre. Why do I keep calling him that? It's not what I ever call him. It's probably just me doing the podcast as like the main host or something. I try to act more professional or something by first name, but it's DA. DA, I want to see him, Mikal, and I want to see Cam Johnson play together more. I want them to continue to evolve together, but I honestly think that he's been looking so good. And before, he would just disappear a lot. A lot of games he'd be gone, and he wasn't there offensively, nothing. He looked confused. He didn't know what to do, but he's turned that around really quick, and he hasn't gone back. See, the thing is, like with Ayton, like he'll show you glimpses like tonight, and then he'll go back to just, hiding or just not doing much, not really putting in the effort. But you don't have to worry about that with Mikal Bridges. You just don't. I think he's been perfect as of late.
Well, and let me ask you, I mean, I know it's been a rough stretch, that's why this game feels so good, because I was certainly one of those people that's like, Wemby looks pretty good.
Oh.
and maybe we could have a fire sale and just try and keep like a Bridges, Ayton, and Booker. But, after tonight's win, the angel on my shoulder starts talking again and says, you know what? These have been character building moments for the Mikal Bridges, for the Deandre Ayton. Are they going to be absolute superstars?
Yeah,
probably not. But when Booker comes back, when Paul comes back, and now that Cam Johnson's back, will we still have a Ayton and Bridges that disappears? I think it'll be less often, don't you? I mean, I think this has been, even though they haven't been able to win the games, it's been growing moments for them.
Yeah, no, for Mikal, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
With Ayton, I need to see it another couple weeks, because we're not going to have everybody back till the end of the month, really. And even then, we're going to have to see it. So if he plays like this, then yeah, it's helped him a lot. But the thing is with Ayton, I've always just thought he had it in him. Not that he had the effort, but like he just has these games where he can just throw up the 20 and 20, 24, 20, whatever. He can do that. But to Mikal, I didn't know what he could do. But now, like, I can see it. I think this has helped Mikal probably a lot more than Ayton, just because I just think that his game was just so different, where he was a guy that might go to the corner offensively, just roll or just cut, and that's about it, right? He's handling the ball a lot more. So it's nice to see that. I think he's going to really benefit from this. But yeah, really quick before I go any further, I got to play our DraftKings promo. Did you see the new one yet?
Were you shooting the gun of money, or did you guys do a new one?
This is a newer one, but this is video footage, not like the Blair Witch, but this was taken like 6 or 7 years ago. So here you go.
Listen up, Jamsters. I know this is a basketball podcast, but the NFL playoff picture is locked in, and my go-to place for wild card round action is DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To kick off the road to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat bet each day of the wild card round this upcoming weekend. Just place any NFL bet of your choice, and if it loses, you'll get a free bet back up to $10. Action is so good, why not bet NFL playoffs anywhere else? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code TBPN. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Yeah. Yeah, that's taking a while ago. So I feel like everyone that always listens to this is probably like, oh my God, they're talking about it again. I'll have to jump on and watch it. Yeah, jump on and watch it. Yeah, it was good. It was put together by John, but everybody hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Let's get to 3,000 subscribers tonight. I think we're about 400 short, but let's just do it. Everyone subscribe. Everyone hit the thumbs up.
And when you get a chance, remember to head on to Redbubble and support John and let everyone know that Dave King's your son's daddy.
Yeah, there you go. And those are John style shirts too, with the sleeves and stuff. So it looks good, man.
Oh yeah, the 3/4 baby. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never worn those, but they look good, so I might have to get one. Before you were talking about the TNT broadcast and just like some comments you were hearing. So do you have a list? Because I was reading some of your tweets. I don't know if I liked them. I don't really like tweets. I'm sorry, but I'll read tweets. And you were saying some things on there, and they say the same stuff all the time. Every game, it's the same thing. DeAndre Ayton's from Phoenix. And
no,
what's
Matthew,
your list?
Did you know that Ish Wainwright played football?
I saw that,
and that he's a big, strong guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but and then they always, I swear the cameraman's like, shoulders Ish Wainwright, like every time. And oh my God, hey, Ish Wainwright, he's not afraid. He played football at one point, and it's like, I guarantee you, they're like looking at their like media notes, and they're like, Ish Wainwright, corner 3, and played football. All right, we got him. We got that guy. He's not going to play, right? And of course, then the Suns go out and run him and play him 15, 20 minutes a game. It's like, he's probably a fullback. I don't know if you guys know this, but fullbacks, they're rare, and they go out and they get the short yardage. I mean, it's brutal. But no, I don't know what it is. I know you're a Cowboys fan. I happen to be a New Orleans Saints fan, and Troy Aikman. I don't know what the Saints did to him in his career, because the Saints weren't good at all during Troy Aikman's career, really. And I always feel like Troy is just like, oh, look at this guy, another bad decision there. That is the Reggie Miller broadcast of the Phoenix Suns almost every time, and it drives me absolutely up the wall because people will be like, well, I don't know about that, and then they'll be like, oh, well, great acting job by Torrey Craig, and then the guy goes, well, he got smacked right in the jaw, and he's like, well, I mean, he's a great actor. I mean, yeah, he got hit in the jaw, but I mean, that's a common basketball play. It's a common basketball play, and I'm like, my God, Reggie, it's okay. What did we do to you? We weren't even in your conference, man. Like, ease up off the desert. Have a fun time while you're here.
Yeah, it's tough, and it's the same thing every time. But the reason I had to watch it, the Bally Sports app, and I'm sure a lot of Jamsters, a lot of fans out there were watching it, and it was sketchy. It was very sketchy. It was delayed. I turned off my TV, turned back on a few times. It still was delayed, and then also it was like, they sounded like aliens talking. So I had to turn it. I had to turn it to TNT, and I had to deal with the same stuff where they talk about, especially Damian Lee hasn't missed a free throw. Then he misses a free throw. They talked about, what else did they say? They talked about, Mikal Bridges, his 300 whatever game in a row. How many games he's played in a row? And he hasn't missed a game since this. And I swear they've talked about that before, but I'm sorry. We just had to deal with that. And it was kind of sucky. So at least the Suns won.
It's rough. And actually, I totally forgot. So AJ W put it in the chat too. Yeah. Every time they see Damian Lee, they're like, you know who he's married to? Him and Steph Curry, brothers-in-law. It's, I don't know if you guys know this, but guess who he goes home to at night? I mean, it's so strange. Like it's like and Bismack Biyombo. It used to be like, oh, and there's Bismack Biyombo. I don't know if you guys know this, but he sent his entire salary last year to the Congo to build a hospital. And all right, who else do we want to talk about here? Which, I mean, it's a great thing, but it's clearly like, I don't know if it's somebody in the Suns press team that's putting these media notes together for them, but like,
no,
put something else into it so that these guys have something else to talk about, because sometimes it's just, well,
it's just like if we talk about other teams, other upcoming matchups, I'll do my best and I'll say some things. And as soon as I'm done talking, well, John's like, well, that guy's out. He's actually injured. Also, they're not even ranked that on defense. So I was completely wrong. So I think it's just doing the homework, and it's a comfy job. You just go hang out, you sit down, you watch the game, and you say what you want to say. And most of it's just things we've heard before. But what are you going to do? They're still getting paid a lot of money. I'm sure he doesn't give a shit. And we give too much of a shit, but we have to listen to it. So
no, exactly. I mean, it reminds me a little bit like I'll be honest. I kind of like Stephen A. Smith. I like how he is just very brash. And he gives his opinions a lot. And apparently he got in hot water recently by saying that Rihanna is not a Beyonce type talent. And I don't know, I read it for 20 seconds during the game, but during a timeout, I was like, oh, that's what he said. And apparently he apologized and took the tweet down. I'm like, that's very unlike Stephen A. Smith to ever retract something like that. I feel like the Reggie Millers of the world would not ever even approach something like that. They'd just be like, hey, you want to say anything controversial? Well, I don't know if Ish Wainwright's got a career in football anymore. It's like, dude, this is painful. Yeah. The reason why you're there is because you're a Hall of Fame Reggie Miller. It's not, this is why people like Shaq and they like Charles Barkley on TNT, because those guys will sit there and be like, man, these guys are trash. These guys are trash players out there, and they'll actually lay it out, and they're wrong a lot of times too.
They're always wrong. Chuck is always wrong, and I used to take everything he said literally. Now it's just like a grain of salt with everything. But he's I don't really watch the show anymore because the halftime show it gets kind of boring. Kenny runs to the big screen or whatever, and then just they plan stuff out where Shaq falls. So it's kind of just staged now. It's not as good as it used to be. But just really quick though, just some quick shout outs to some other Suns tonight. I know Damian Lee we talked about. He did have 16 points. Cameron Johnson 19 points. Damn, what a comeback, man! Way to come back and get 9 of 9 from the free throw line. That is something the Suns were actually 28 of 41 tonight from the free throw line. Terrible percentage. Absolutely terrible. But 41 attempts. They haven't eclipsed 40 this year. They haven't. I think they did 30 maybe a couple times. Because remember, John talked about he asked me, he's like, when's the last time they were over 30 attempts? I'm like, I don't know. He's like twice. So first time probably over 40. A lot of physical contact from Cameron Johnson, which you didn't really want to see too much because he gets so scared. But man, get to the line. That's exactly what we needed. The 3-point attempts, I think that they went up, of course, 11 to 28, but they started off really hot, shooting like 60% in the first quarter. Great all-around game. I want to talk just a little bit about if you want the Nets, Kyrie, and that whole situation. I think Kyrie, not that situation, but their actual team and the way they were playing on the court. Kyrie almost had the comeback planned out. He almost came back. He looked amazing. This team without Kevin Durant, it just shows you, right? Like the way the Suns have been playing without Devin Booker, I feel like a lot of people kind of overlook that fact that like Booker's gone. We don't have our superstar, and that's why we're terrible. Now Kevin Durant's gone. They still have Kyrie, but Kyrie can't be a number one. But it just goes without saying. It's like, oh, they don't have Kevin Durant. They're not going to win. So do you think the Suns, after facing the Nets and kind of seeing that, do you think anybody in the media is going to actually say like, oh, wait, they don't have Devin Booker? And right now he's like, what is he, 12th on the point guard voting list right now for All-Star games? Like, that's insane. I don't know what's going on with that, but like the respect that I feel like Booker will never get is because I don't know what, but I just think that he needs a little bit more respect, just showing how bad the Suns are without him. And just knowing if the Nets look this bad without KD, they're like almost not, they're on the same level, but they're just that important to their teams, right? It has to be. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for a smaller market team, which I never used to think that the Suns were until I kind of realized that a lot of the people that go to the games are also like snowbirds. Like, I mean, heck, my folks just went down to Arizona because they spent a couple months because we have 8 inches of snow here on the ground in the Midwest. So, I mean, you look at people like the Joker with the Nuggets and Giannis in Milwaukee. And yes, the Joker wins MVPs and Giannis has won a title. I think it's going to take something like that for people to view Booker in the same light as superstar. Because if those guys hadn't done that yet, then I think they'd still be suffering the same thing. And Joker is phenomenal. They talked about how, he's going to take the lead in like triple doubles within like a couple of years, probably just playing his current pace. And Giannis, of course, is a freak of nature. So, but you're right. On the broadcast tonight, I think they talked about with Booker in the lineup, the Suns are like their point differentials like a +6, and with him out, they're losing by about 4. I mean, that's a substantial difference, and we're seeing the slow decline of Chris Paul, and there's one guy that is supposed to really lead the team now, and if there was any debate last year whether it was Booker or Paul's team, it's for sure Booker's team this year. I mean, the real Suns fans always knew it, but I think the media was, Chris Paul, he was briefly in the MVP conversation last year. And I did want to mention one quick thing, though. You mentioned the free throws. Can we make sure that Bismack never gets fouled again? Because I don't know if that guy doesn't practice shooting. My Lord, like this is why we so badly need campaign, but really Chris Paul back, because Bismack he didn't even have a shot attempt tonight. He played 16 minutes, and it's true. Now that I think about it, every time I saw him like in the post the players did not even look at him. They did not look down and be like, oh, should I pat? They just immediately, they're like, I don't have a shot. And they swing it back out because they know Bismack doesn't have a shot. The only shot he has is a pick and roll with Chris Paul, really. And I have to get the one thing I did agree with Reggie Miller about a little bit tonight was the technical foul that was called. And they said, why did they make the guy that got hit, in the incident have to shoot free throws? I think, the other guy said, well, it's going to give Bismack some practice because he's shooting 32%.
No more practice. No, it's fine. But it is nice to see, though, Bismack just come in, and I just can't wait till this team is fully healthy. Yeah. Because to see this bench, especially with Ish Wainwright come off the bench, and I mean, he has been coming off the bench, but just, he's going to play his actual minutes. He's going to actually play his position. He won't be out of position. He still hits threes. But like those guys and the hustle they have, that's going to be killer in the playoffs. Like as soon as our team is healthy, we just don't realize how good this bench is going to be. They've carried us. We've lost we're 3-13 without Booker, 3-18, 3-13 without Booker. But a lot of what we've seen from our bench has looked really good. And I know they're starting right now, but the way they've been playing and actually wanting to win games, trying to make a name for themselves, I guess, in a way, but they've come out and they've been resilient. And I'm really excited to see this team back healthy, but more for just seeing this bench and having Bismack come out one night, then having Landale come out the other night. And then just, you have Ish coming off, you have Lee, you have all these guys that can shoot too. It's going to be fun. And I hope one day the Suns are healthy again. And I think this is probably going to work out. And I know they just won the game. So, of course, I'm going to be excited. But I just think that we might be okay. We might just make one trade with the Jay Crowder thing, and then that might be it.
Yeah.
I think that's all that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, unless you can make somebody, choke on the Dario Saric contract, which they might because it's an expiring contract. It's almost.
What do you feel about like Dario's? I mean, he got 3 fouls in like the first 3 minutes, but I kind of like what I'm seeing from him lately, though. Do you not? Do you want him kind of
7 points, 4 rebounds? I mean, let's be honest. Ed is he's going to be a minimum contract player probably for the rest of his days at this point. I mean, unless something dramatic happens. But kind of, I mean, like you were talking about though, like with Wainwright, Saban Lee played 29 minutes, Wainwright 22, Dwayne Washington Jr. 6 minutes, Dario 8 minutes. None of these guys should be playing if we're healthy. All 4 of them should be sitting there waving the towel, getting up, pumping everyone up, just doing this stuff a lot. Instead, they're playing critical minutes, trying to keep us afloat, which is going to be key because like we're talking about post trade deadline, playoffs, these guys might get 5 to 10 minutes in a playoff game. You want them sharp. You don't want them like Saban Lee, who just signs a 10-day contract. It's like, I don't know what you want me to do here, so I'm just going to bring the ball up and then pass to somebody else. You want them like Saban Lee was tonight, where it's like, I think I can actually do that little hesitation move that he pulled a couple times and really just lulled people to sleep and actually took it in pretty well. So that's it. It's hard to see right now. But I think Suns fans, it took me to watch this game a little bit and realize we might not be getting as many wins as we want with these guys, but they are elevating themselves. And then when the true stars come back, we're gonna have that depth that we had last year. I did see Ted Lubin asked, I have no idea either, and I was curious about it too. Jock Landale. Where was Suck My Jack tonight?
They do that. They do that a lot. They just don't play them. And then they might play like what they were doing a couple games in a row before tonight's was just they would play Jock in the beginning and then they would have Bismack come in towards the end of the game in the fourth. So Monty did say that, like I mentioned in the beginning, they did have a lot to work on with a couple of practices that they did have. Maybe it was just one practice, but they're gonna have a lot of different looks out there tonight. And not seeing Jock, it's okay. I think he's been playing better. I think he's been positioning himself better under the basket. He's had a couple good games, but then he just doesn't play tonight. But honestly, if it's going to end up in a win and it's going to end up with Bismack, I think he played good minutes with the 6 rebounds. He played a lot of effort, so I'm not going to ask.
Great defense.
I'm like, where's Landale? Like, we need him. Like, no, I'm not worried about that. But I do think I do kind of like where they kind of spread it out, where he has a game off here or there, just because I feel like Landale can bring that energy when he comes in. And like Deandre says, like he gives him energy. And I think he might need a night off here or there because he's been playing a lot too. With all these injuries, he's been playing so many minutes, like right off the bat in the beginning of the season. So him resting is okay. We just talked about the Nets earlier. So I want to go through the subreddit stakeout to let you know what the Nets fans were actually saying.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Oh, you actually?
No, I didn't go. I didn't go into the Reddit.
Well, yeah, at least you dress up. It's funny because I don't feel like we really dress up as much anymore.
No,
like it depends how late it gets. I didn't have anything. I totally forgot. I could have put my hat on backwards, but that's lame. Yeah, I'm too lazy. So it was obviously it was a really dark day for the Nets. They're already kind of saying the season's over. This feels like a Nash. This feels like the Nash days. My hatred for this team is coming back. Totally true. Claxton, who is someone that I didn't mind. Like I've watched some of the Nets games with Kevin Durant, and I like Claxton in the clutch, like playing the center. He's fine. I think if you rely on him too much, it's going to be looked like it did tonight. But Claxton was 0 rebounds, and we are already in the second half. So 22-0. I think I said it earlier going into the fourth, where Suns had 22 second chance points to 0 for the Nets, which is insane. It just shows you that the boards were just. Even the TNT crew knew coming into this game that it was going to be a Suns rebounding game. Like they knew that the Suns were going to. I was like, okay, well, it must be if they know. Dagger to start the third quarter. I'm not saying up for this. This is a mess. So the Suns started the third quarter pretty nice. They held on to that lead going into the third. Then Kyrie kind of came back. Someone did comment about Kyrie being a terrorist. Saban Lee laughed my ass off. Yeah. They're just random comments like, oh, he's a terrorist. Because he was playing so bad. They were waiting. This fan base was waiting for Kyrie to come back to get hot. And he kept missing 3 after 3 after 3. He was not getting what he wanted. But eventually he did. And I think the fans were like, why is Saban Lee kicking our ass? Because he was. He was definitely kicking their ass. Someone call an ambulance, but not for me. Meaning when the Suns were actually looked like they're going to lose the game because the Nets, the fans were going to bed. All of a sudden, the Nets came back as a 5-point game. And then, the free throws were a mess. Claxton trying to act like Luka, banging it off the front of the rim.
Right.
Not go right. And then the Suns end up winning the game because of that. So the Nets, they're number 3 right now in the Eastern Conference standings. So they still have a lot more season to go. They're in better position than the Suns. And their fans are still freaking out. So,
well, Matthew, I don't know. What's your thoughts on mental health and therapy? You're for it, right? I mean, it's a good thing to support. More people.
Yeah, where are you going with
especially,
this?
No. I got a purpose. Yeah, no. More men though need to realize that it's okay to be vulnerable. If you're fighting demons, hey, it's okay to reach out for help. One man that's been fighting a lot of demons, it plays for the Brooklyn Nets. His name's Ben Simmons, and it was really great to see that progress tonight of aggressiveness. But I'm not a therapist, but I believe it's called a relapse when you have that progress, but you lose it. And that's exactly what happened when Bismack Biyombo stuffed Ben Simmons on the dunk attempt. And then shortly after that, Ben Simmons, maybe about half a quarter later, gets ejected from the game. But it was amazing because they were the TNT crew was even saying like, Ben Simmons, wow, that's what you want to see, aggressive Ben Simmons. And I was like, and even Reggie's like, I mean, he got blocked. Well, Biyombo really blocked the hell out of it, but that's what you want to see. And I was like, yeah, it's
he was in his head again. He was in his head again. And,
exactly.
He kicked himself out of the game. He was trying to bring the ball up. He was trying to set things up for his teammates, but he was fumbling and bumbling, coming up the court, getting mad at himself. I'm a big Ben Simmons fan. I've always have been. I hope he gets back on track. I like the way he plays. The only thing is, when I was on my 3-way call, about Deandre, a couple nights ago, staying up till 11:13 p.m. Like it was quite the night. But someone asked, they're like, "Would you trade Ben Simmons for Ayton?" I'm like, dude, can you imagine just having Ben Simmons over Ayton? Though I know we complain about Ayton and we get frustrated, but having Ben Simmons at this point in his career would be the most frustrating thing to watch. And I like that he's out there playing and he's trying to get through it. And he probably won't be anything offensively ever. Defensively, he's looking better, but he would be even more frustrating than Ayton. We would have a heart attack if we had made that trade, right? That's what I told him.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be, oh, you're making me nervous just thinking about it. I mean, that's like an NBA 2K, type trade where, you get the offer and you're like, no, come on, computer. I'm not going to do that. Like, and in the game, they're actually good. Simmons actually can fill the stat sheet up, but no, I mean, absolutely. I feel, I don't know what goes through the man's head. And I hope he does get better and kind of restores his career a little bit. Yeah, it's the frustration that fan base must feel of, they had Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and what did we all hear as soon as those three got together? It was, if you are a sports betting person, put your money on the Nets now because it's basically Shaq and Kobe 2.0. Like it was a lock. It was Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and the Celtics. Like there's not a team that could beat them. And somehow they fumbled that away. Whether it was James
Steve Nash. I'm pretty sure it was the coaching.
Which is weird. I don't know why Steve was so like in his own way, like bad. But then again,
he just wasn't a coach.
No, that and I think it's a little bit, our favorite Steve Nash era was the Mike D'Antoni era, and Mike was like, load it up, we shoot threes and we score points. Defense bad, we don't do that. And so I mean, I always thought like D'Antoni, like towards the end, I was like, he's half a coach, man. Like you have to coach the other side too. That's why the Warriors were like, wait a minute. We can shoot threes and run and gun, and we can have some guys, Klay Thompson can play defense. Draymond Green can play some defense. And, we can strip the ball on occasion. And so, yeah, no, it's oh gosh. Yeah. I get frustrated with Ayton a few times, but Ben Simmons, man. Oh,
Ben Simmons is like, it's like 11.
Yeah, exactly.
He's an 11 for sure. Another guy that, I was talking about on the call was Tyrese Halliburton, and we brought him up just because we're talking about guys we missed in the draft because it was getting that dark as Suns fans on that three-way call. Tyrese Halliburton does play for the Pacers. That's who the Suns do host next game. It's 7 p.m. on Saturday. I'm just kidding. You can watch the Pacers. They're 23-23 right now. They are currently the ninth seed in the East. This is a team where they made the trade last year, Halliburton for Sabonis. A lot of people were nuts over it. They thought, man, the Kings lost their mind. Sabonis looks great. Halliburton looks great. Looks like it kind of just evened out. It looks like Halliburton will be an all-star. He looks fantastic. This team is 23-23 in the East, and they're still in the 9th spot. So this might be the first year where I feel like the Suns are I'm glad they're not in the East, because usually it's like all-star voting. If Booker was in the East, he would be an all-star. He would be a starter every year. Suns would be a number 1 seed every year. You know what I mean? It was always like that, it seems like. But now it seems like it's more even. Do you know anything about the Pacers this year?
I mean, just that Halliburton is like the real deal, right? I mean, that's like essentially what I've learned so far. And that the Pacers have certainly overperformed from what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a tank for Wemby type year, and try and like sell off what pieces they could and just build around Halliburton and then try and get a good draft pick. It'll be interesting. And as for like all-star voting, I think it's interesting because, in the East you have Boston, but the Knicks are really, it's the population center that you would think should be like the Lakers. Like, you would think that all-star voting, that there would be like the diehard Lakers fans and the Warrior fans. I mean, like when Wiggins made the all-star game, we're like, wait, what's going on here? And so it's interesting that New York doesn't have a decent player that they can really push. And because you would think New York, just based on its size and fandom, should be pushing, and we should be getting very upset that like Jalen Brunson and Randall and RJ Barrett are getting votes. So I have to actually kind of say that like it's kind of fun to see Halliburton, getting votes and probably going to make the All-Star game. And so it's like, wow, Pacer fans are getting their guys' attention. That's hey,
Yeah.
there is still an NBA fandom out there that's like, well, I would like to, who was it? Was it Carmelo or like Kobe had played 1 year like less than half the games I think before the All-Star break, and like fans still voted him in as a starter anyway, or something ridiculous like that.
Oh, it's always with those guys. It was probably
exactly.
Kobe. Kobe was always his top. It was
Yeah.
like him, Yao, and Shaq. Like
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Like
Yeah.
wouldn't even like he'd be like, I can't play at all. Like my foot's
He
broken
played
the
2
entire
games.
season, and
He
like
was always a
China
starter.
would rise up. They're like, start him.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, I think Suns fans just don't care anymore about the All-Star voting. I think that they want their players in, but this year, I think they just get so discouraged with what's going on that a lot of Suns fans, and I'm not trying to hate on them, but they'll disappear. They won't be on the pod. They won't watch anything. They won't want to hear anything about the Suns. So if you're losing this many games, 3 of 13, and Booker's not there, there's not going to be a lot of voting. And even in the past, there was never voting. Even if Booker played like he was early in the year and continued to stay healthy, I think he would have been up there. But it's just difficult. It's difficult with Booker. And I think Halliburton just has that thing where he goes on podcasts, he speaks his mind. He's like in random places where you want to see an NBA player. You know what I mean? Like he's always just doing those random things to kind of put himself out there.
He's in Indiana, and I don't expect to see NBA players there.
Yeah.
Except Reggie Miller. So.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you know what we forgot to do is
Jam Star of the Game.
All right, Jamsters, one more time. Go ahead and subscribe, like, review, submit a review on the Apple Podcast, and we will read it right here on the podcast. Sorry if you submitted one already. John was out tonight, so he usually looks at that, goes over it, makes sure it's credible, and we can read it. But tonight, I don't know. Let's talk about the Jam Star just really quick. I think it's already going to be DeAndre Ayton. It might just be him or Cameron Johnson. This is tough, but go ahead and go first there, Jake.
You know what? I'm going to give a Jam Star to a guy that probably won't be with the team much longer. But hey, you helped us get a big win on national television. Saban Lee showing up with your 15 points, your 6 assists, your 3 rebounds, and you're just that little hesitation move that like stalled 2 guys out that they're like, does he seriously dribble that slow? And then he was gone. So Saban Lee, he's probably not going to get another stat line like this for the rest of the year. So Jam Star of the game for me.
All right. You know what? I can't disagree. I'm going to go Ayton. I know this was a big game by Saban Lee and Cameron Johnson's coming back, but Ayton had to make a statement tonight with everybody talking about it, talking about him everywhere, like every podcast talking about him having to be one of the guys that comes out of Phoenix or should be a guy that they trade out of Phoenix. Then he puts up this kind of game. I'm going to give him Jam Star. Keep it up, please, because we go straight back to negative town or whatever you want to call it when it comes to that negative town. I don't know what I'm talking about. But,
excuse me, Mr. Deandre.
Yeah.
Deandre lives in negative town. We want DA in positive
Deandre.
town.
Is it a lowercase?
We want DA in Jamsterdam. That's what we want. Yeah.
So Kiko G does say triplets. Okay, so there is a triplets now. They're not just twins. DA's like, hey, can I be part of your twins? Yep, they're called triplets. So DA, Ward, and Cam. Albert H does say triple. I want to say Triple H. Triple winners: DA, Bridges, Cam, Johnson. Crazy Luigi.
Hunter Helmsley?
Yep, Hunter Helmsley. Yeah, that's what it was. Him in China,
That's
bad
right.
ending to the relationship.
Degeneration X. That's what the Suns need. There's a little Degeneration X. That could get those guys pumped up.
They just need to start.
Could you imagine? Ayton dunks on somebody. Yeah, suck it.
He probably won. He's probably done it. I mean, those guys are too young. They don't know what DX is.
That's true. Yeah,
they had no idea. Crazy Luigi, Mikal, DeAndre deserve it. Detonable. The triplets. I just totally forgot about the triplets thing. I guess that's a new thing for sure. Average Joe shooting the Saban-tooth tiger. Saban-tooth tiger. Saban Lee. Because I thought Saban Lee sounded like an outfitter store, but then Saban-tooth tiger. That actually sounds.
Hey, nice shirt. Got it at Saban Lee.
Yeah, it's from Saban Lee. Have you been?
It's at an outlet mall. It's really exclusive.
Corey Flynn, Saban was, dude. He has some Twitch. Kiko G. cross chop. I'm just reading stuff. They're not even saying the
No.
jam stars.
No. Well, and Corey Flynn had the donation too.
I was going right. Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Got it right
I'm
here,
teeing
dude.
you up, man.
Yeah,
Take
Corey
it.
Flynn does donate $4.99. Will Amari and Marion be in the Ring of Honor finally with new owner? Ooh, that's a good question. Sarver grudge was the holdup or what? Dude, that's crazy because when we're talking about Crowder now with the grudges and stuff, maybe it is all Sarver. Do you think that they enter the Ring of Honor, and how are they not?
So what I thought I had heard, I'm not so sure with Amari, and but that Sean Marion just like we want to love him, but he doesn't want to love us back sometimes.
He's at the
And
Mavericks games.
yeah, like
He's with Mark
Mavericks, and
Cuban.
yeah, it's I think he just always felt a little
hates
underappreciated, which is crazy because like the diehards always knew what he was bringing to the table. So it's sad to see. But as for Mari, I'm not quite sure why that hasn't been done. I don't know. I wouldn't think it's a grudge by Sarver. I mean, Sarver likes making money, and if there's one thing that I remember during the dark decade of losing, he was actually pretty good about like I still remember the Ring of Honor induction for Al McCoy, and like giving him a grand piano there on the court, and I actually kind of got a kick out of it because Al McCoy's like, I don't know, a million years old. So like while Robert Sarver's like, there's your jersey up there, and he's just like banging away. I'm just happy to be
I don't
here.
remember that. I didn't watch it.
Oh yeah,
I remember seeing highlights, but
oh yeah, he just started going because they're like, we know you like to play the piano, and they're like, and you know something else about Al. And he's like, I don't care. Watch me do this.
wow.
So,
Yeah, no, I don't remember that. But
that'd be a great way. That'd be a great way for the new owner to kind of say, hey,
first thing.
yeah, let's
If you
respark this the old times with the new times.
If you watch, I forget what podcast he was on. He was talking about how he gets heated when he talks about the Suns and the way they lost in the playoffs. Like he is pissed because he talks about how every defense knew what they were going to do. He said they would never switch anything up with D'Antoni. They would never switch anything up. Every defense knew what they were going to do. And it was frustrating him on the court. He was suggesting things. No one would listen to him basically. But he gets heated like in a way where he looks like whatever's in his hand is crushed. Whatever the next person he sees, he's going to punch in the face. That's how mad he gets about it. So I don't know what happened, but it does suck. I was never the biggest Marion fan. I always liked Amari and Nash over him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there is so many Marion fans that want to see him in the Ring of Honor, and Amari too. For some reason, I thought Amari already was, but no, he's not. My bad.
Well, and it kind of, that kind of reminds me. The opposite was Joe Johnson, if I remember right. And I thought I had heard, and James Sears can correct me in the chat, but I thought I had heard him basically admit that him basically trying to get himself out of Phoenix so he could kind of, quote unquote, be his own guy, lead his own team. I think it was with the Hawks, right? That was a mistake. That maybe not from the perspective of like showing that he could be a great player, which he certainly could, but had that team been kept together,
yeah, that
would have been a fantastic team. I mean, Nash, Johnson, Marion, Amari, and I don't know who was the fifth guy back then. Stephen Hunter. Oh, it was Diaw with him at that point?
Well, yeah, I mean, he was there later, right? I mean, he was was like the fourth guy.
Oh, he was definitely one of the top.
He wasn't he was awesome,
sure.
But like I think when he went to the Spurs, he was even better. Obviously, he helped them to a title, but yeah, Diaw was always one too. And what if? Always a lot of what ifs with the Suns, and if DA's traded, we'll be talking about what ifs for the next 50 years.
Are you? I know you and John sometimes occasionally talk about video games, mostly about how you guys don't have time to play them anymore. But I don't know. Do you have the new NBA 2K at all?
No, I stopped playing that. I always want to get a PS5. I'm waiting for that because 2K it just became kind of like the same game, and then I wanted it for the PS5 because that's a more open world. And I just wanted to experience that because it was kind of like the same thing over and over again. I think they do a great job with that. Why are you playing that or what?
Oh, no. Yeah. I mean, I usually get it. And of course, with Booker on the cover, I felt like obligated because it's so rare that like a Suns player makes it, right? But I will say that there is a fun, I usually would not do this in other games, but it's called Eras. And you can go back and basically play the 7 seconds or less Suns. And oh my gosh, it is like crazy to go back and look at like the names on the rosters. Like I think Scott Williams might have been our starting center with the 7 seconds or less Suns, or it might have been Stephen Hunter. But like it was like
Stephen
I totally
Hunter.
forgot about these guys. Like I mean, I was like, oh my gosh,
It was
and then, like
Stephen
Casey
Hunter.
Jacobson. Like we thought, oh man, he's going to be great someday. And
Oh my god, dude! Yeah, that guy. He was like a very, very Walmart version of JJ Redick in a way.
Yes.
very, very much. But he just.
I remember he had a very attractive girlfriend at draft night.
I remember
and
that
very nice
too.
shoes.
Yeah.
I remember those two things.
I remember.
about draft
Yeah,
night.
I remember he was very attractive. His girlfriend was attractive. His whole family's attractive. So. Yeah,
exactly.
He did okay with not being a son.
No, exactly.
But, dude, we are 5 minutes over, and I'm telling you, my mom's in the other room telling me I gotta go to bed. So
you got to get on that 3-way call.
I
see
got
if DA's going to call you back
I got
later.
to get on that landline. Yeah, I gotta check it out. But thanks again for joining us, Fallen Founder Jake. Where can they find you? I guess I gotta ask that. Yeah, there it is. And I am at Matthew Lissy. This is at Suns Jam. Make sure to like, subscribe, and then go ahead and leave us some reviews. And I say go home and leave your family. Go home and leave your family. Oh, whoops, that slipped out.
Go ahead and leave your family for Deandre Ayton.
Yeah, there you go. Go home and love your family.